Which,
Oh, oh, oh. I was at a house inspection today, and I went into the bathroom and looked, because I always look at the toilet. I looked at the toilet, and there was, like, red wine. Like, it was, like, brown and red. It was like someone cut themselves and bled into the toilet. I was like,
wait,
what
what?
the fuck? So, yeah, it was just this house that I went to see, and the toilet, there was two toilets, and one of the toilets was just filled with this orange-brown liquid. I was like, yeah, yeah.
Has someone had an accident, or is it
I
always like
don't.
that?
I think it might
Oh,
be like a betadine thing that they're leaving in there, or
oh,
something like that, or some one of those weird toilet blocks. Like, I don't know if you can get like blood toilet blocks now that make all the yuck,
Actually,
just so gross.
that
Anyway,
is-
hi guys, welcome to the podcast. How you doing? Doing good.
we're good. How are you guys doing?
oh my god. I think we're starting to go a little bit crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we've just been let out of the cage a little bit, and I think, yeah, 25 kilometers now. We're a little bit more free.
It's on.
I'm gonna go to Costco. I'm so gonna go to Costco. Costco's within my range. Who would like to come with me?
An oath.
I
Yes.
will. But
Yeah.
where is it? Oh, is it in Moorabbin?
Rabin, yeah, next to the airport.
Ah,
Yes.
yeah.
Make a scene.
Yeah.
It's so good. It is so good.
Oh. You know what I'm doing tonight after this? I'm setting up my fucking Christmas tree, even though it's not even Halloween yet. I don't care.
Need the serotonin.
Literally. Oh,
That's why we're all dressed in the Christmas theme.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
all like kind of, not sure it's fucking October. James was like, you have to wait till the 1st of December, and I was like,
I don't think we do, James.
with
that's
adults.
true. He was like, that's just how it goes, and I was like,
Christmas spirit waits for nobody. Sorry. I've been possessed by the Holy Ghost.
yeah, exactly. I was actually listening to Hamish and Andy once, and there was this lady who just like kept her Christmas tree up all year round and would change the decorations for
I love that.
each event that
love
came
that.
around. And I was like, yeah, that is such a good idea.
That's people with more time than sense, though. Like,
And no animals too.
no.
Maybe
Your
not
dog
even
would
children.
instantly have those Valentine's things just right off.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. It's a time.
It is
Crazy
time.
time. I just wanted to say, Jamie, I saw on your Instagram about a week ago how you showed everyone how you could stand on one leg, and I was crying because I remember visiting you in hospital. I remember like how much pain you were in when I first came to visit you when you came back home, and like how much you've changed is just incredible. I'm so happy. I was like,
And then when I visited you in hospital,
I kind of truthfully don't really remember it. Like
pass it off.
Yeah, like I don't remember my brother being there. There were like a couple of friends that came and like visited me, and I'm like,
you're probably insanely off your tits on drugs.
oh yeah. I was.
That was why she crashed.
I wish. But yeah, no, yeah, it's good. I'm actually thinking about going back to work. So.
Yeah.
Just to even feed the horses because I'm going crazy.
You could dress your dogs up as horses and just, pretend to feed them.
I don't know. They're a little underwhelming. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. I wouldn't say Leo's underwhelming. He's screaming constantly all day. Every day.
This is true. There was actually someone.
Yeah, I just
God.
Yeah, they're an interesting lot.
That doesn't stop. Yeah. That doesn't stop. You think it's just because they're puppies, but it's not. It's forever with whippets.
It is forever.
Yeah.
It is
Yep.
forever.
You're like, okay, finally he's asleep, and then he wakes up.
Yeah. He just talk like Lawrence talks all the time, but Leo like he's got attitude.
Yeah, he's got that.
It's attitude. Yeah.
He's got opinions about what you're wearing and how you look.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, stop, and he like looks you dead in the eye, and he's like, huh. and then walks away. And you're like, excuse me?
Yeah, how dare you? First of
What
all,
was that?
I brought you into this world.
I can easily take you out.
I'll
Speaking
put you
of
in a
which,
kennel.
who's going first this week?
Who went first last week? Did I go
I
first?
feel like Jamie went first.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
I
Well,
dibs last.
right. You did start. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
All
I'll
right.
go
Well,
second.
okay.
Yeah, Aaron's first then.
All right. So I've wrote it down. I've got a little notepad here. My handy dandy notebook. So
Recycled paper.
We get it.
yeah,
She can write. Nice
I
flex.
can write.
Uh,
I was writing because I saw this episode on Forensic Files, and I wanted to just curl up on a couch and write down. So it was season 1, episode 12, and it's about John List. So I don't know if any of you have heard of this
such a good one.
famous
Such a good
case.
one.
So I'll start off. It's fall 1971. This is situated in Westfield, New Jersey, America. And this stands a nice, quiet home in an affluent town. There was no sign in life in this town, in this house, because the family was currently away visiting a sick relative, which, so it was normal, not to be any sign of life. However, a month passes, and the neighbors start getting a bit suspicious. So they call the police and are just like, we're just a bit suspicious. We haven't seen this family in a little while. Can you just go check on them? So the police go to the house, go through an open window, and they hear music playing. The music sounds like funeral type music.
No.
It is incredibly cold in the house, freezing, and a bit of a decaying smell is coming from a certain room in the house.
Ballroom.
The ballroom. This is where police discover 4 dead bodies. They are lying in blood-soaked sleeping bags on top of them, and all of them had been shot at close range. So the victims were Helen List, who was 48, Patricia List, who was 16, Freddie List, who was 13, and John List, who was 15. So the 4 victims had been dragged from the kitchen, and there was evidence that the murderer had cleaned up the murder scene in the kitchen, had wiped up with cloths, and as well there was a blood-soaked mop as well. So the police went looking around the house a bit more, and they found a 5th victim on the 3rd floor, who was 84-year-old Alma List, who had also been shot. So police found 2 guns and a letter addressed to the pastor of the local church. The letter was signed by John List, the father of the 3 young victims, the husband as well as the son, to Alma. So, which makes it quite obvious that he was the killer because he confesses in this letter. He says his reasons for killing his whole family was because he did have a lucrative banking job, but he lost that job. And he was just worried about having money problems, and he didn't want to put the family on welfare. What a kind soul, just to kill his family.
And
So
not
kind.
yourself.
So selfless.
You know what? I do not want this town to see that my family's on welfare, so I am going to kill them. He also said another reason for killing them. He had them in a list of four reasons. Another reason was that he feared that his family's soul was, going too far away from God. His daughter wanted to pursue an acting career, which he said was not an acceptable employment opportunity. Yes,
Slut.
that is not what God would have wanted. As well as his wife, Helen, she did not want to go to church anymore. She had not been to church for a long time. And John List was a very devout Christian. he went to church every Sunday and he taught the Sunday school as well. So this was unacceptable to him, and these were the reasons that he killed his family. So the letter also stated how he had killed his victims, that they did not suffer, they did not see who killed them. However, John, his eldest son, did fight back because he must have suspected something when he walked through the front door of the house. And so there was a bit of a struggle there. He was shot actually 10 times, which is, very big struggle. He must have put up a really, really good fight. So yeah, he said the other 4 did die quickly and that they were not in pain.
Thank God.
Thank God. Oh, what a kind soul. Yeah, John
So
suffered.
blessed.
John suffered a little bit, but it's alright. The other ones were out of their misery in seconds. How could he put them through welfare? Rather be dead, honestly. For basically half this country,
honestly,
just die. You
on
know,
God,
you do
on
not want to
God.
be in welfare.
On God, I'd rather be dead.
I'd rather be dead. 100%. So John List was an accountant. He was a devout Christian man, taught Sunday school, like I said. And the neighbours said he was quite a reclusive man and he didn't have many friends and was quite shy. It is also said that he was a very smart man. However, he didn't have very good social skills. This led to him losing lots of jobs. So after losing this most previous banking job, it was, I think, just a bit too much for him to handle. So once the bodies were discovered, a month after they had been killed, they had discovered List's car was found at the JFK airport 2 days after the bodies were found. There was no evidence that John List took a flight. However, if he did, police realised that John now has a 1-month head start from the police to being found. And this was in 1971. So this is going to be quite difficult to find someone. It looked like he didn't board a plane. They couldn't see where he was going. He could have gone anywhere almost in the entire world, but they think he would have stayed in America. So they put out a nationwide search, all 50 states. I think that's how many states there are in America.
Also, another 70s. It's everything bad happened in the 70s. Can we just delete? Can we just delete the 70s?
In everything.
Yep, it was not a good time. All families were being massacred by their husbands and fathers. So, so this was obviously a very high priority case. It was basically a slaughter. It was an execution, they said. The whole family had been executed, and this man needed to be brought to justice. So some believe that he might have committed suicide. However, a lot more believe that he had actually just started a new life somewhere else within America. So days passed, then months, then years. 10 years passed. However, the police still wanted this case to be solved, and every single year on his anniversary, they called all the news stations to try to bring to light, this case, which they did. Every news station did that to try and, as well as newspapers, and even past the 15 years mark, police did still have hope. However, because there wasn't really a lot of, things to find him back then, all they could rely on was the public's help, public sightings. And, sightings did come in every now and again. But because, almost 20 years had now passed, he would have been completely different to what he looked like. The photo that they kept showing was actually years before he even committed the killings. So he was looking like a very old man now. So about 18 years had passed at this stage, and they're like, right, we need to do something. Now this is, we need to step up. And this is when a popular show called America's Most Wanted gave a helping hand. They wanted his case to be shown, And although it was, almost 2 decades, cold, they said that they would show this case. However, at the end of each episode, they like to show a photo of the suspect. However, the photo has been shown already of John, but there has been no, there's been barely any sightings of him now, so they need to make an upgraded photo of him, basically. They could have used a computer version of it, which they did have back then. However, all it does is really just add a couple of lines. It doesn't really have a personal touch to it. So this is when a famous forensic sculptor comes in by the name of Frank Bender, and he was specialized in his field. Like, completely, it was amazing. He helped identify so many missing persons by being able to progress their face with sculptures. He's been able to get skulls that have been found, and he's able to, kind of see what that skull would have liked with, flesh on it. And he's been able to identify missing bodies, deceased, decaying bodies as well. He's able to put a face to that. So he's done amazing work. So he now needed to do a sculpture on John List, who looks about 25 years to his most recent photo. But what he needed to do was, would John List be the type of man to change his looks? Would he start wearing contacts now? Would he have looked after his skin? What would the genetics kind of look like as well? So he got the help of a forensic psychologist, and together they figured out who John List would be like now. So they looked at his past, and it found out that he was obviously brought up in a very strict Christian household by 2 German parents. And this kind of, made his ideals into what they are today. He, lacked social skills, and they realized that he potentially could have killed out of anger because of his own failures. So, basically what he did, now I sent a photo in the group chat, and I think you guys have seen it, and we'll put it on the YouTube thing we do as well, but also have a look, to the audience, have a look at John List bust. What they've been able to do is he realized through looking at pictures of John List's parents, was able to identify, make a kind of a jowl, add a bit of like a sagging skin. He would look a lot more. No, oh, listen, that's how you get it. That's how you get it. Seriously. No, this is old. Okay, this is old man skin. Like, this is like, it is non-stretchy at all. Like, and
I got you with that one.
And I think as well, because of the anxiety, not the guilt from killing his family, but the anxiety of getting caught, is what would have brought the sagginess to his face even more. He had a scar, the back of his right ear, and he was, Bender was able to see what it would look like 25 years past. They also were able to discover whether he would wear contacts or what glasses he would wear. And they knew that he would want to change the glasses from what he was previously wearing. However, he would still want to kind of look like he was a lot smarter than he was, and a lot more successful than he was. So they identified that those glasses would be thick-brimmed glasses, which is when this episode... I mean, Brad, you're looking a little bit suspicious right now.
Why do you think I'm covering my ears, baby?
What do you think?
A family relative, Brad?
Yeah.
Is your hair...
friend. How's my dad doing?
So when the episode aired, it aired on the 29th of May, 1989. And so in Denver, Colorado, a family recognized the face of the mass murderer. Wanda Flannery and her daughter Eva noticed that he looked very similar to their neighbor Bob Clark. And he had previously, he had just moved to Richmond, Virginia. And when they called up police, they said what made them think the most were the thick glasses, as well as the nice sag and jowls. So
Guilty.
So 2 days later, he was arrested on June 1st, 1981. So the bust, if you look at the bust and the arrested photo of him side by side, it's uncanny. The detectives that found him said it looked like Frank Bender had actually been looking at John List as if he were in front of him. It was incredibly similar. So when he was arrested, not only was the letter a big help, but he also confessed straight away. So he really wanted a clean slate. He, at trial, that was, he figured out a bit more the reasoning and what happened. So basically, first he shot his wife at short range. And then he went up to his mother's apartment and shot her as well. He could not drag his mother's body back down the flight of stairs, so he had to leave the body up there, which he stated in the letter. He dragged his wife's body to the ballroom, and his children all went to different schools, so they all came home at different times, and he waited and would shoot them at point blank as well. However, John put up a struggle, which he said in the letter as well, and he shot John 10 times. When the executions were finished, he lowered the thermostat to stop the decaying of the bodies. He said a prayer for them from his hymn book. What a generous man. And he let the bodies listen to beautiful, calming funeral music. What? Oh. He just cared.
Again, like when he first said it, it gave me goosebumps, and then he said it again, and it gave me goosebumps again.
Yeah.
It's not. Oh, I know. They said when the police first walked in, it was incredibly eerie and dark when they heard the music playing, and coming across those bodies. Yeah. Oh, you'd be terrified. How terrifying!
Yeah.
And they're all in sleeping bags. It's like the worst camp ever. Oh
Blood soaked as well. Oh. So that's when he left for Denver, Colorado, applied for a new job, as well as a new social security number as Robert Peter Clark. He rejoined the church, and he remarried a woman named Dolores Miller, who to this day still believes that he is not the man that everyone says he is, even though the fingerprints match the gun that he had previously bought that killed the family, as well as DNA tests. So there is no denying, as well as his confession, for one, that he confessed. So it is 100% him.
Straight up denial.
Yep. So John List, I mean, to be fair, can you imagine being married to someone for like 15 years and knowing that... Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, full stop. Marriage?
That's tough, but also knowing that he had killed his entire family previously. I think I'd want to live in a little bit of denial.
You'd hear that and you'd be like, oh, Kmart reduced your hours? Yeah, shit.
So John List was charged 5 counts of first-degree murder and was sentenced to life to prison. So he has now passed away, thank God. And the ending of this was that he had lived his life exactly the same as he was previously living his life before the murders. He was still an accountant. He was still working, volunteered at a church. Nothing had changed. He still wore his glasses. He still wore a suit every single day, which they all said. So I think they were just very lucky that someone, recognized him and that Frank Bender was a really fantastic,
Yeah.
like sculpture.
Is
So
he?
that
Is he dead? Is Frank Bender dead?
Frank Bender's dead.
Okay.
He's very dead.
He's
He's
incredibly
very
dead.
dead.
Incredibly dead.
It's okay. Very dead. But yeah, so that is the horrific List murders and the capture of John List.
There's a detail that not many people add, but in the ballroom there was a chandelier worth so much money that if they had sold it, they wouldn't have had money problems the rest of their lives.
God,
Yes.
are you serious?
If he had
Laugh at that.
identified,
Oh my God.
if he had identified that chandelier, they would have been fined for the rest of their life because it was worth millions in the 80s. Millions
Oh
in
my
the
God.
80s. If
Are
they
you
had, if he had not been a brain dead dumb fuck, he could have been fine. But
Oh my
he
God.
just didn't.
You know what?
Yeah.
Maybe that
Maybe
wasn't.
he's needing an excuse.
Yeah,
Like,
it
I
was.
feel like someone like that probably just wanted an excuse to kill their family and just
Accountants.
leave.
Yeah. Let's
They're
make
crazy.
a wide statement. Accountants, you do math?
Something's going wrong.
Yeah.
James.
James, put away your file drawer.
Put away the maths.
Yeah. Close that Excel sheet and get the fuck out.
Weird. I can't stop
Yeah.
thinking about like
The funeral
what's the
music.
yeah. I'm just like what. Ugh, that's weird.
Imagine the
Like-
body cam footage. Yeah, you walk in this time.
I imagine it like I imagine like green flowery wallpaper, like the
I mean,
chandelier.
you can look up if you want to look up, you can look up the bodies. They were showing the bodies all over Forensic Files. I was like, oh damn. But like,
You act surprised that they showed the bodies on Forensic Files.
Well, I mean, it's quite intense. I mean, it's rated M.
It's a lot.
Like,
It's a lot.
I mean, yeah. But it's yeah.
List. John
Oh,
List.
I literally looked up Chris.
John List Senior, I think it's under, isn't it? Because he also had a kid, John List.
Yeah. But yeah, very sad. And it was also said that the daughter told her acting teacher that if they were to go on a very long vacation, she is dead. She will most likely be dead. She started to worry about her father already. I mean, and he said he had been planning it for months.
Yeah.
Well, thinking about it for months.
There's so many of those stories that it's just the unwillingness to budge even a small amount with your ego kills.
Yeah.
Like, it's terrifying. This toxic masculinity kills. Like, it's true.
Like, I can't provide for my family. You're not doing as I say, which is going to church. You are swaying too far from a nice, womanly career, which is being a housewife. You want to be an actor? Absolutely not. Oh, yeah.
I'd also like to point out that he got a new job. It wasn't like he went on food stamps. He could have just gotten a new job.
Very sad, but he's been caught and he's dead. So justice is served. Thank
Did he
goodness.
die?
Super.
I'm not sure. I didn't write it down.
Let's
But
just guess. Super AIDS.
No, I said when. Not
Oh, when? Oh, how?
I
We can go with
can't
Super
remember.
AIDS. Super AIDS is fine.
Yeah.
Super AIDS in like 2006.
Yeah.
2008.
2012. Very visual.
I'm just gonna get another drink.
Knowing me, it's 1998 and I've been reincarnated.
You said it. So, I cried when I did this one. So I'm just drinking right now because I'm
Getting ready.
emotional. I'm gonna fucking cry. Like, anyone born from 92 on, I'm about to ruin your fucking childhood. I'm just letting you know.
Is this Ducky?
Is
this Ducky?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yes, I knew it.
Oh no!
Sorry.
I like how I knew. I cried in this one as well. I was actually gonna do this one in a few weeks.
Sorry.
No.
I need to keep drinking. I need to numb.
Yeah.
I need to just start repressing.
Yeah. She's got
Sorry,
some
my
little
honey.
dinosaurs she needs to drown inside her.
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
Oh.
Okay. So,
Yippee.
so that just not necessary. All right. Judith Barsi was born on the 6th of June 1978 to her parents, Maria and Joseph Barsi. Maria and Joseph were Hungarian and they fled to the US in 1956 after the Soviet occupation in Hungary. So they had a massive change of lifestyle. And I imagine that there would be probably some implications of Soviet war impacting the parents emotionally. Not that that's an excuse. They immigrated to Los Angeles, and Maria dreamed of Judith becoming an actress after her own failed attempts at becoming a star. So Judith was discovered at an ice skating rink, and she looked a lot younger than what she was. So she was mistaken for a 3-year-old. She was absolutely adorable, absolutely gorgeous, had the sweetest voice, just, yeah, gorgeous. I don't really need to say much more. So before they even knew, she was starring in over 70 commercials and began starring in movies. However, just shortly after that, she was subjected to hormone injections because she was so small and wasn't growing. For those of you who are unsure who Judith is, she played the voice of, this one is a personal favourite, of Ducky on The Land Before Time. She was also in Jaws, Revenge, and All Dogs Go to Heaven, as well as a few other movies to name. Oh. Joseph was an alcoholic and he was an unemployed plumber. He became increasingly abusive, jealous, and paranoid the more famous Judith became. So when Judith was... Sorry?
Oh my god, more jealous of his
Yeah.
daughter.
Yes. So when Judith Barsi was prepared to leave Los Angeles to the Bahamas to film Jaws, her father pulled a knife against her and bade her goodbye. He said, "If you decide not to come back, I will cut your throat." A plumber friend had reported that Joseph had said over 500 times he would have to kill both his wife and daughter. So this wasn't I guess to say unusual. People were threatened by Joseph. They knew the abuse that he kind of inflicted, but no one ever really did anything about it, which is an incredible letdown. In an interview for another movie, Judith just broke down and she began to cry nonstop. Her agent suggested that she take her to a child psychologist. So Maria did that, and the psychologist identified that Judith had verbal, emotional, and psychological problems, and they reported it to child services. However, as per norm, child services did not do their job. Judith had told a couple of family friends that she didn't want to go home. Daddy is drunk every day, and I know he wants to kill Mummy. With the continued abuse, Judith's behaviour grew concerningly odd. A friend had seen Maria and Judith in the car park, and Judith had plucked all of her eyelashes out. It went so far that she ended up plucking out the whiskers of her cat, and when someone had asked her why she did this, she said, "Because of the problems at home." Maria began to attempt to slowly separate herself from Joseph. She ended up getting an apartment for herself and Judith, and they would spend their days there. However, they would return to Joseph at night. She attempted to hide that she wanted to leave him. It was stated that she didn't officially want to separate from Joseph, as Maria didn't want to lose the beautiful home that Judith's money had gotten the family. She was also awaiting a $12,000 tax return that she didn't want Joseph to get his hands on. I read another report that Joseph had began following Maria and Judith. There was a time that Maria was buying things for this new apartment, and Joseph had grabbed her and was like, "What are you doing? What are these things?" Rah, rah. And she was like, "Oh, this is just for a friend. I'm helping her getting settled in," and took him back to the apartment. And she tried to make it look like a pigsty, so that way, because apparently he was a very big clean freak, that way he would be repelled by it and, not think of it anymore. Joseph would often stay at home drunk and refused to let Maria work. due to which the family was on welfare for a brief period of time, but until Judith's career was started taking off in 86. By the time that she was in 4th grade, she was earning an estimated $100,000 a year, which helped them buy the family 3-bedroom house in West Hills in LA. Joseph suffered from paranoia and had their house surrounded by a high fence, which could only be opened from inside the house. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there is a fly.
Yep, I could see it.
We could see it flew into your.
I tried. I wasn't sure if you guys could see it, and so I was just like, just ignore it.
Yeah. A child died.
Yeah, don't react. I think it's because I have an increased amount of plants in my house at the moment, and so there's lots of little bugs around. It's really annoying.
We just see something floating in their drink.
Extra protein.
Oh my god, crunchy.
Yum. Judith was last seen on July 25th in 1988. She was riding her bike. She had an appointment with another agent but failed to attend. On July 27th, neighbour Eunice had heard a single gunshot, and then she saw flames coming from the Barsi family, and her first thought was, he's finally done it. He's killed them and set the house on fire. She called 911 immediately, and they were able to put the fire out. Judith's body was found in her bed with a single gunshot to the head, and her body doused in petrol. Her mother was also found shot twice in the head, doused in petrol, but in the hallway. It was believed that she was running to Judith's room. It was believed that Joseph did this right after he found out that Maria was planning to leave him, and then he shot himself in the head in the garage. All of Judith's toys survived the fire and were donated, and in 2004, both Maria and Judith were given new headstones. Judith read, "Our little concrete angel." Yep, a catchphrase from Ducky. I'm actually trying really hard not to cry. I'm going to keep drinking because I'm tearing up.
Fuck.
That was...
How long is left?
I'm crying.
It doesn't get much better. Mine's also very heavy.
I absolutely loved The Land Before Time as a child. Like, I remember watching it. And I remember Ducky, and then I was watching a TikTok video, and it came up with actors who had died that you didn't really know about. And I knew that she had died, but I never really understood how or why. And yeah, so I just thought I'd ruin everyone's day.
That's fine.
No hard feelings. But it's quite horrific.
Yeah, I used to watch that movie every day because I had it on VCR, and so every day, the first and the second one.
Yeah. I think also this came about too because I remember my mother telling me about Jessica. Can't remember her last name. It starts with B, but she was on the Saddle Club, and she died by getting hit by a train.
Oh my God.
Some people, I said it. I was like, oh, Mum told me that she tripped and got hit by a train, and I was like,
how? Did she jump?
I was like, was it a suicide? And then I googled it, and apparently the family became very defensive and said that no, it wasn't a suicide. However, you just don't know. But then that sparked up one thing, and then I was like, oh yeah, like Judith Barsi is Ducky, and I was like,
As soon as you said 92 onwards, I was like, no.
like, yeah. And,
I remember that movie as well, All Dogs Go to Heaven. That was my sister's favourite movie. Oh, God.
And my favourite childhood movie, Jaws Revenge.
I always watched shark movies when I was little. I did love Jaws. But The Land Before Time was definitely one of my favourites. And it just hurts. Like, yeah, I just finished. I did it all today because I leave things to the last minute. And I was lying there on the couch, and James was playing Xbox, and he's like, "Are you going okay?" I was like, "Yeah, it's fine, it's fine."
You're
and
like, yep.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm trying really hard. I was like, remember my childhood. I was like, depressed. It just really, really hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not fair. It's
So
not
No.
fair.
sad.
it's really not fair. Like
And
she
they're all
suffered.
incredibly sad. They're all incredibly sad. But
Oh
like,
yeah,
there are some that like hit so close to home that it's
Right.
like,
yeah. Mm.
I think it's when innocent lives that should be protected. I
Yeah.
mean, I just obviously you don't want to blame the mother. It's like, oh, she should have done this, but she was in an abusive relationship as well. But
Yeah.
also, like, why did the child protective services not do anything? Why did the neighbor not do anything? Because she's like, oh, he's finally done it.
And there were lots of different reports that people knew what he was like, and they knew that he was just a bad person, and no one did anything. And I'm a big if I know that someone's done something wrong, I don't let it happen. And you know the whole bystander effect thing. And I was like, no, like this leads to so
Yes.
much more. Like you don't just sit by and watch this happen.
yeah.
No matter what the situation is, whether someone's being bullied, people talking shit about someone, or something a lot more extensive, such as abuse and neglect. Like, yeah,
It is, yeah, terrifying.
I love that. I literally spoke about before about the podcast. It should be funnier.
Yeah, and here you are bringing Paul,
Yeah.
our childhood trauma.
I'm like,
Anyway,
anyone
you remember your favorite character as a kid? She's dead. So
Remember that really sad movie? I'm making it even more sad.
yeah.
I'm gonna watch Land Before Time in a couple of nights, and I'm gonna sit there and cry, and I'm gonna do it.
And then every time she says it, you're just gonna think of her gravestone.
And that really hurt. I think that hurt the most. That hurt the most.
Mine this week is one that my sources are My Favorite Murder and Murderpedia. But this was the one that I fucked up. So I thought I would revisit this. It is the Fag in the Bag case. For real. I made a mistake, what was it, 3 weeks ago now? And it got 2 cases combined, they got confused. And when I was uploading it and writing it down, like the descriptions, I was like, hang on. That was not this man's name. And I was like, what is happening? And so I rewatched the documentary that I watched, and she had combined 2 cases. And I don't think she knew, but I didn't know, and I used that one source. So I am going to be talking about Paul Bateson this week. You may know him as the X-ray tech in The Exorcist. Do you remember the scene, Regan? Yeah.
Oh my god, I've heard about the.
Yes.
Oh my, it's coming back. Oh.
Wait, the what in The Exorcist?
The X-ray tech, the person who operates the machine when Reagan's getting her brain scanned. The really creepy dude in the medical office. Well, yeah.
I'll rewatch.
You're about to learn.
Yeah. So Paul Bateson, and this all happens in the 70s. Who's fucking surprised? He was born August 24th, 1940, and he was raised in Lansdale, Pennsylvania. His father was a metallurgist, super fancy, and
sorry, question. So, is this like legitimate that 2 actual cases have combined in real life? As in, like, he was genuinely an X-ray tech for the girl who was possessed?
So, The Exorcist was a movie.
Yeah.
He starred in the movie. He just happened to be an X-ray tech who was also a serial killer.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
And yeah, so.
Yeah.
When he was young, he was like super interested in art and specifically like dancing and singing, and he really wanted to go to art school to do those. But because he was a man, and this was 40s to the 70s, you weren't allowed to do that. So in the 60s, in his 20s, he served a term in the army. And while he was there, because he was really bright, he was really switched on, he quickly turned to alcohol. And during his alcoholism, he was like, you know what, I'm bored. So he left the army and moved to New York, where he became romantically involved with a bisexual man. Ooh, we love that. And this is where his drinking really became a problem. They were like pretty much like co-enablers. They would both do drugs and drink together. And this relationship went on for like ages. In 1969, his mother died of a stroke. And then his brother committed suicide after the mother's death. Yeah. And after this, he decided to become a radio tech. And he was like, you know what? I found purpose. So he dumped his boyfriend and became a neurological radiological technician. In late 1972, he starred in the movie The Exorcist. Around this time, his drinking had worsened, and this caused his job at the hospital to let him go after the release of the movie. And the director of the movie went to the hospital, and they were just going to hire actors, but he wanted real medical staff. And he saw this dude, and he was like, "Oh, he's a creep." Yeah, and so he got typecasted. But yeah, at this time, he was drinking a quart of vodka a day, which is a lot. That's a lot of vodka. And apparently it robbed him of all his energy. He spent the nights that he was actually able to go outside in leather bars, something he started doing in 1970. And this is where the murder starts. Okay. So most of these have been attributed to Mr. Bateson. He never officially confessed to them, but he did confess to his friends all the time. But you know, a lot of murderers do that. Like there's the Netflix doco, The Art of Confession, and just because people confess doesn't necessarily mean. Anyways, they link to him. So, January 4th, 1973, the murder of Ronald Carbo. He was 29 and he was stabbed to death on his sofa in his West Village apartment. Bateson decided to light his apartment on fire in an attempt to camouflage the crime. It did not work.
That never works.
No,
never works.
You're just lighting a smoke signal to tell people where their body is. And he didn't even light it on top of the body. Anyways, stupid. 4 days later, Donald McNiven, aged 40, and John P.W. Beardsley, aged 53, were found stabbed to death in their apartment. It had also been set on fire. These people were well known in the S&M community and the leather communities. So investigators didn't officially link these murders, even though it was 2 stabbing deaths. And then the apartment was lit on fire. But this is New York, so it's very, it happens. And then a few days later, on January 17th, a body of a Gay Liberation Front member, Robin Barrero, age 23, was found floating in the Hudson River. He still had his leather jacket on that he had been wearing at the club when he went missing 5 weeks earlier. So he was found floating in the river 5 weeks after he disappeared, which doesn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people. But it's possible that the body just got caught underneath the water in Bramble, and then, anyways, on January 28th, which is like 11 days later, a superintendent for do you know what they are? They're like, in the big apartments, you have like one person who's like the maintenance worker. We call them like maintenance people here. So a maintenance worker heard a radio that had been blaring for hours in Brooklyn. So he used his skeleton key to enter Nelson Roberts' apartment. The 32-year-old school teacher, and this one's really bad. The 32-year-old school teacher and the leather bar regular had been stabbed to death. His corpse laid on the floor beneath a grey blanket. His roommate was found in another room with his neck broken. Arguably, the worst part was the couple's black poodle had been drowned in the bathroom sink. Yes.
Fuck.
Yes. Yeah. And he, in one of his next crimes, he left a effigy, which was a black toy poodle, in the sink. He left that as a calling card. Yeah.
It's like he's like, it's like he wants people to know that
Yes.
this is the same
Well,
person.
it's because the police declined to state whether the crimes were linked. So he was trying
Oh.
to like make them acknowledge him as a serial killer. Um, although at this time, body parts wrapped in trash bags began washing up. Um, and this is kind of the end of his murder spree because he like did a ton all at once, and then it was like a bit more padded out. In 1977, a drag performer, Tony Lee, her body was found strangled to death in her apartment. She was known to frequent leather bars after her performances, and this kind of like sent the entire gay community on like a red alert. Essentially, they freaked out, and they started putting articles out in the local newspaper, the West Village newspaper. Yes, so on September 14th in 1977, Addison Barrell.
God, there's so many.
Yeah,
There's so many.
yes, and he was a reporter for Variety magazine, so he was like kind of well known. He met Paul at a gay bar, and these are all the ones that are linked, that are officially linked. We know he did it. Okay, so in 1977, Addison Barrell, who was a reporter for Variety magazine, met Paul at a gay bar, and they ended up hitting it off. They had drinks, they did cocaine and poppers. Do you know what poppers are?
Like pill?
So no, well, kind of. So it's essentially a little bottle filled with, I think it's amyl nitrate, but essentially it's a vasodilator. So you get like a huge rush, and you sniff it, and it's a very short burst of a high, and it's leather cleaner essentially. And people sniff it. It's like non-toxic and non-addictive apparently, but like I know a lot of people who are addicted to it. But yeah, if you ever see people like with a little bottle at a club like sniffing it, they're probably doing poppers. It's very common in the gay community because it is a vasodilator. It makes the butt relax during anal sex, which is why a lot of people do it. Yeah, so so they did cocaine and poppers, and they decided to go home in a taxi. They continued doing drugs there. They had sex around 7, and Paul realized this is all Verrill wanted from him, and he hated rejection, and he needed the money. So he decided to do something he'd never done, and he bludgeoned Verrill with a skillet, which is a pan. He smashed his skull in with a pan. And he specifically, when he admitted to this, he said, "I decided to do something I've never done," trying to say that he hadn't done the murders earlier. Yeah, so he bludgeoned Verrill to death and then stabbed him through the heart. Yes. After the murder, he took Verrill's money, his credit card, his passport, and some clothes, and he bought alcohol with all the stolen money, and he spent the entire next day completely drunk off his tits. Yeah. So this murder, because it was kind of like Tony Lee was like a drag performer, she was like very well known. Arthur Bell wrote a article about her, trying to link these murders. And after this killing, Arthur Bell wrote a Village Voice article where he basically surmised that the killer was a psychopath who was targeting gays in the leather community. And Paul Bateson actually called him on the phone anonymously, and he corrected his assumptions. Yes, he was like, actually, yeah, he was like, actually, yes.
That's not how it went.
Yes, Bateson said he wanted to atone for his crime, and the entire conversation ran on the Village Voices front. Bell contacted the authorities about the call. Investigators immediately considered it a solid lead because of several details the caller knew, which were not made public. A friend of Paul's, named Mitch, called and said, "Oh, I know who the killer is. His name is Paul Bateson." And so he essentially gave Paul Bateson up, which is kind of concerning because, like, how did he know that Paul knew? Unless Paul told him? Yeah. So that's what I think. So Paul was arrested, and he eventually gave a handwritten confession that was consistent with what he said on the phone to Bell. He was charged with second-degree murder. Second degree, by the way, not first degree. He beat someone to death with a pan and then stabbed them through the heart. Would just like to point
Second
out.
degree.
Yeah, he got second-degree murder, to which he pleaded not guilty, even though he signed a confession. He got incarcerated at Rikers Island, awaiting trial. Bell, the reporter, went to his jail and essentially went to talk to him, because they were so well acquainted at the phone. And essentially Bateson said, "Oh, like, jail's really helping me get sober." Although he regretted missing the new season of the Joffrey Ballet. Fuck's sake.
That's
So
the worst
perhaps-
thing.
It's so
Oh.
annoying. You know what? Jail sucks. It's crazy.
Only
I can't
for
even
the
watch the ballet.
season.
Yeah. I'm missing the ballet. Yeah, so at this time, police were investigating a series of murders of homosexual men between 1975 and 1976 were dubbed the bag murders, or the cuppy murders. And cuppy means circumstances unknown pending police investigation. Yes. So if you hear cuppy as a acronym used in police, that's what it means. So it's essentially circumstances unknown pending police investigation. They are also called in the media the fag in the bag murders. Yes. All of the men were killed of and disposed of with the same modus operandi. Post-mortem in a dismemberment, remains placed in plastic bags that were later dropped in the Hudson River. Authorities were convinced that the same individual was behind every single killing, but none of these men were ever identified. Despite their bodies being found, they were never identified. Yeah, so the only lead that they had was clothes and tattoos from the victims that they could track down to a Greenwich Village shop, which served the leather subculture. Tattoos linked them to the S&M culture as well. So they knew that these were essentially targeted attacks on the leather community. Bateson also did targeted attacks on the leather community around the same time. So it's just, that's why people think it's a link. And also people, like, essentially investigators began to publicly suggest that Bateson was a suspect in the case. William Friedkin, who essentially was the one who directed Exorcist, paid him a visit before his trial. So the director visited Bateson, and Bateson, on Friedkin's account, admitted to killing Verrill. He said he was thinking about confessing to the bag murders for a reduced penalty. However, no such deal was offered to him. So he was going to confess, but they hadn't offered him a deal. Yes, so Friedkin decided, based on this conversation, to make the movie Cruising, which was about an undercover police officer who went into the leather culture and essentially went undercover in the gay community to find a serial killer. But that is exactly from a person who worked on his last film, The Exorcist, becoming a serial killer. I just think that, yeah, very interesting how his films were linked. And also, like, kind of inappropriate. Like, yeah, a little bit. And, like, during when these movies came out, when Cruising came out, it was like a huge protest by the gay community, and so it tanked. It absolutely tanked. Because they had a fake gay guy, fake gay men in the movie, fake everyone, and it was just really shitty. It was how they were representing the gay community. Despite attempts by Bateson's attorney to suppress the confession, claiming it was handed to him while drunk in police custody, that the police didn't read him his rights while arresting him, and that he simply unconsciously linked himself to Arthur Bell's article. Like, oh, he's just saying that based on the details that he knew from the article. He was just obsessed with Arthur Bell. Anyways, the trial ended on the 5th of March 1979 with a conviction. At his sentencing, prosecutor William Hoyt called him a psychopath, reiterating his belief that he was also guilty of the fag and the bag murders, claiming that despite the absence of evidence connecting Bateson to them, he confessed to the killings to a friend of his called Richard Ryan. On his part, Bateson always denied being guilty of the murders, at least publicly. He was sentenced to 20 years to life imprisonment. Bateson served 24 years of his sentence, and he was eligible for parole in 1997. Yes, he was released in 2003. He was released. He completed his parole in 2008, and now he's disappeared from public record. Yes. It's not known.
That should be
Yes.
unacceptable.
Right? Yes. It is not known where he is or if he's alive. However, it's deemed highly probable that he died on September 15th, 2012, since a Social Security death index shows a Paul F. Bateson, born on August 24th, 1940, with a Social Security number issued in Pennsylvania, passed away that day. So he's probably dead. Unfortunately, the 6 victims were never identified from the Hudson River, and they never got justice. And that is the story of the real fag in the bag case.
That was a good one. Shit.
So much
I think I like it better than the mixed one.
Yeah. Well, the mixed one was just all kids getting raped and killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, very bad. Very, very bad. Yeah, next episode, I probably won't do a gay one, because I realized I've done only gay murders.
That's your passion.
Yeah. I'm late.
It's like for some reason I'm just doing child murders, so
Yeah, well, that's that is true. You've done a lot of family annihilators. You've done a lot of family annihilators.
yeah.
But we are all doing 70s. We did 70s murders, didn't we? Did they all happen in 70s? Oh no, yours is 87.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So I'm a little bit fried from that. What's
fair enough.
everybody's happy time of the week?
Erin?
Oh, what's my happy? Damn. Tim Tams are on special, so I bought 4 packets and I've been going through them all.
Very
Delicious. So that's my.
Oh, she's gorgeous. Oh, she's delicious.
Oh, she's delicious. She's fantastic. She's fabulous.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Jamie?
I watched the David Attenborough Life on Our Planet, cried my eyes out, and I've managed to convince James to eat vegetarian 4 nights a week, which is really
so
good.
good.
Yeah.
So that's really good. I'm trying to eat a lot more vegetarian, but it's really hard for me to kind of sustain the weight already that I have not on me. But so that's been like a really big enlightenment. I through Ecology, which is a website, I think it's roughly about $30 a month. I've planted 64 trees already all over the world. So yeah, yeah,
Love that.
a little happy thing.
I will send you pictures of my favorite veggie fake meat.
Please.
Yes, I promise I will do that.
Yes, if everyone, all vegetarian meals, throw them at
From
me.
Woolies, they do BV, which is like balls, like beetroot vegetarian beef balls, and they are so good. They are so good. I make them in fried rice when I do vegetarian stuff with rice.
It's really hard. Like, I've tried to buy a lot more vegan snacks too, but James is anaphylactic to all nuts, which makes it really hard because a lot of vegan and vegetarian things are like have a lot of nuts in them.
So he really can't have any male friends. That sucks.
I know. What about you, Brad?
I mean, I got a job. At a tea
Yeah.
shop. Yeah. I'm very
During
happy
this
about it.
economy,
I know.
woo!
Yes, we love jobs during the
Well done.
pandemic.
13 people for every one job, and I got a job. I'm very happy
That is
with it.
really good. I'm really proud of you.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a tea shop. It's going to be very fun.
It is.
Well, we hope. But
We hope.
come visit me. Come visit me at work. Oh, stores.
Absolutely.
For everybody who doesn't know, stores are opening up November 1st in Metro Melbourne. So you'll be able to go to your favorite retail shops.
We'll be there.
Yes. That's also when cafes are doing open seating, so you will be able to eat indoors. It's going to be very, very good. I missed all of
Slowly
that.
and surely. So life is returning to normal in a really weird way.
Well, I guess we'll see. We'll see
Yeah.
in a week if we're still this happy. But yeah, I will see you in 2 weeks. These ladies will see you next week. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
Yes.
Are we ready, guys?
Right, I fucking know this. I know this. I've been practicing.
All right. 3.
Wait.
Nope.
Wait. We can't spell Manslaughter.
Manslaughter.
without laughter.
Manslaughter. Yep.
Ready,
Okay.
ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
You can't smell
men without laughter.
10 out of
The
10.
lag!
You did it.
The lag!
You did it. It's like the voice jammer.
I start talking and then I hear Erin talking and then I try and slow down to match Erin and then it's just done.
No, that's what I heard you. You sounded like a little bit later.
Yeah. It's voice jammer. It is
Oh.
good. But I think that's the most. We have to make sure that we never get it right in person as well.
Yeah.
It's endearing.
It is.
You guys got to keep listening until we get it right, which will be never. So
You always have to listen.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys, for joining us on this week, and stay safe. And
Do God's
Yeah.
mission.
yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.